The Pueblo Star Journal presents State of Art. State of Art is a production of the Voices of Pueblo podcast. This special episode, Leonardo da Vinci Museum opens Pueblo to the world, was produced and narrated by Bree Pappan. This episode features Dr. Sara Taglialagamba. Dr. Taglialagamba, head of the Art Academy section of the European University Festival, will share her expertise as a leading scholar on Leonardo da Vinci and professor at the University of Urbino in Italy.
Buongiorno, Pueblo. Welcome to a very special edition of State of Art. I'm Bree Anne Pappan, and I have the utmost pleasure to bring today's program to you from inside the newly opened Leonardo da Vinci Museum of North America and STEAM Center in Pueblo, Colorado. My guest for this special program is a leading Leonardo da Vinci scholar, professor at the University of Urbino in Italy, director of the new Rossana and Carlo Bedretti Foundation, Lamporecchio University of Urbino, and head of the Art Academy section of the European University Festival. She is also one of 3 scholars that was part of a presentation on the genius of Leonardo da Vinci this past Thursday night right here in Pueblo. I am absolutely thrilled to welcome Dr. Sara Taglialagamba. Benvenuto.
Grazie mille.
Welcome. I'm so excited that you're here, and I'm so
too.
excited that I have an opportunity to talk with you today. I just want to get right into it. How did you first become involved with this museum project?
I met Joe Arrigo thanks to Gabriele Nicolai, I think three years ago. And then we did a wonderful conference in San Diego. And then I came to Pueblo.
Okay. And what particular area of expertise do you have in regards to Leonardo? This may be a long list, but I know you are an art historian, but also what are the particular affinities for Leonardo that your research contributes to the museum as a thought leader? And what are the things that you have helped contribute to the museum in terms of them creating their exhibits and their wonderful informational posters and etc.? What are the things there?
I am an art historian, but I am involved and in the technical and scientific achievements of Leonardo. So my field of expertise on Leonardo are hydraulics, technology, automation, robotics. And so I have studied models thanks to my grandfather when I was a little girl.
Oh my, okay.
Yes, because he used to build little small model of Leonardo's machines. So
yes.
I remember I was just 5 or 6 years old and I was totally in love of Leonardo and what my grandfather was teaching to me. And the most incredible point is that my grandfather bought the Codex Atlanticus, the facsimile reproduction that you can find here in the library. And now, as a scholar, as a professor, I am studying my grandfather's Codex Atlanticus.
Oh my goodness, that's fascinating. So from a very young age, through your entire life, you had an enamoration with Leonardo through your grandfather. So it's a family affair. That's fantastic. I think that's just, and I know that there are other members of the Artisans of Florence who have, which is a third generation now of artisans that have come up and learned from one another, and there are also many familial relationships in that group. That's fantastic. And
I must to tell you that Gabriele Nicolai's father, he was one of the best friends of my professor Carlo Pedretti.
Gosh, yes.
And when I was his assistant, Carlo Nicolai used to come to Carlos Pedretti's house in Lamporecchio, where now the foundation is located, and they would eventually spend all day talking about Leonardo's model and how Carlo Nicolai would produce them in models.
Oh my goodness. Wow. At the speaking engagement this past Friday here in Pueblo, you brought up a wonderful discussion about the iconography of Da Vinci's persona and likened him to perhaps a modern rock star or even a movie director. Much of Leonardo has been romanticized or is romanticized. In your experience, what are some of the common misconceptions about his character?
Yes, there are a lot. Okay. And I think the 19% of the things that now we can read on the internet, they are not correct. But I think that at least everybody knows that Leonardo was this universal genius. But if you try to study his drawings, his writings, you discover that he was a human and he was a man just like us. Mm-hmm. And there is not enough documentation about his appearance and about what he felt. Mm-hmm. But it seems to be just a man trying to realize all his dreams.
That's
so
beautiful. That's beautiful. That's such an inspirational moment in terms of looking at him as humanizing him. Also, you talked a little bit about him in terms of how he presented himself in a dandy-like way, in terms of the way he dressed, in terms of the way he presented himself, also his empathy for animals and how he used to go into the markets and try to free the animals. And that's just a beautiful story and really gives you some insight into who he really was. As a follow-up question to that, what are, you also brought this up on Friday evening, what are some of the things that you see him doing as if he were here today?
Maybe he would be the
other
one
than ruling the world, you know.
Yes, of course. I think he would be the one who is very careful and very respectful of nature. So I think this is a very important point.
Maybe a conservationist.
Yes, because we know that he wanted to write this book on painting. Actually, it was Francesco Melzi, under his indication, that he wrote this book on painting. And the first chapters of this book on painting, he's describing painting as a science. But he's describing also the concept of nature. Nature is divine, and the man can touch nature, but have to respect nature. And the artist has the power to reproduce nature. Mm. So I think it's fantastic, this definition of nature as something divine.
That's such a fantastic philosophy in terms of, and I think that's true in terms of artists, visual artists, and how they approach their subject matter or use their creativity in that way to produce things that they are seeing and how things are perceived, the difference there. Da Vinci is infamous for leaving things unfinished. What does this say, and this is kind of an aside to what we just talked about, what does this say about his approach on how he learned and how he portrayed what he learned? And you just continue that discussion.
Mm. I think that this trait to left things, portrait or paintings unfinished, is because he was, involved in so many things. And he's pretty different from Michelangelo or Raphael, for example.
Sure, of course.
Which
are other big names in the Renaissance era.
Yes, yeah. Because they were focused on works of art, in doing things. but he was focused on thinking. He was a thinker rather than a normal artist. So I think this is a special trait. It's not a wrong trait.
And so, of course, Leonardo is referred to as a polymath, one who has expertise and dabbles in all sorts of different disciplines. And is this characteristic of a polymath, do you feel like that's related to leaving things unfinished, maybe in terms of his focus and his ability to maybe not be distracted, but just endeared to so many different avenues?
Of course. But I think the most important trait of being a polymath would be this unity between art and science. And any other artist have this trait. Because all the other, as I told you before, Michelangelo or Raphael, were focused on art. And I think personally that it's fascinating just to read for example, the portrait of the musician or the portrait of the lady with ermine or the belle ferronnière. As yes, they are beautiful portraits, they are beautiful paintings, but most of all, they are studies of optics. So this scientific side, I think, is fantastic.
Dr. Ahmed, who was one of the scholars that joined you via Zoom call from Windsor on Friday evening, brought up another beautiful point that we all, of course, the Mona Lisa is one of the most well-known portraits in Western art history. And he was talking about how the Mona Lisa is so unique and is so of its own kind because it was his opinion that the Mona Lisa was a culmination of all of Da Vinci's learnings. And that is in terms of how you also say the optics and how things appear in nature and how things are produced to appear as they are exactly seen. Do you share that opinion of the Mona Lisa?
Yes, of course. We know that Leonardo started that painting in Florence about in 1503 and 1504, and it was the portrait of Lisa del Giocondo, and but he never gave this portrait. He's never finished this portrait and gave it to del Giocondo. He was a very important merchant of that time. So Leonardo kept the painting for himself. And we know from a document that when he was in Amboise in 1516 or 1517, he was still working on that painting. But I think that the protagonist of this painting is not the Mona Lisa, but it's the beautiful landscape in the background.
Mm-hmm.
If you can concentrate your attention in the landscape, you will see this undefined or a bluish landscape when you can't say if there are mountains, if there are waterfalls, and if there are rivers. So I think it's beautiful. And there is no trace of humanity in that landscape. We can see only this bridge, but there is any other hint to man or woman.
Mm-hmm.
And this is unusual. So I think in this sense, nature and science
Mm-hmm.
would be the real protagonist of the Mona Lisa
Absolutely,
painting.
absolutely. Totally agreed. You spent an extensive period of time in the U.S. at UCLA, where you studied under your mentor, became your mentor. I'm interested in knowing what, if you had any experiences with Americans and what their understanding of and opinion of Leonardo versus how he's so revered in Italy and Europe and has a Western point of view versus an American point of view. Did you have any experiences in terms of differences, contrasts, and similarities?
I must to tell you that everybody in the world knows who Leonardo was. And everybody would say, oh my God, he was the most important artist and the most important scientist. So I
think so much emphasis is put on, more emphasis is put on his artistic integrity rather than his scientific abilities.
Yes. But you know that one of the first Americans who was interested in Leonardo was Walt Disney. I know it's fun, but Carlo Pedretti and I went to his archive nearby LA, and we discovered that back in the 20s, he proposed to the commission of the company 2 different logos for the amusement park.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and one was Mickey Mouse that was resembling the Vitruvian Man. So it was the Vitruvian Mickey Mouse, something like that. And the other logo was the castle. And
of course. Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, it makes perfect symmetrical sense because Disney had so many interests other than, that was his museum or his amusement park, but it was his offering to the world,
Yes. So he wanted something, he wanted a logo that would be iconic, of course. But the commission say to Walt Disney, but who Leonardo is? So they eventually, at the end, choose the other logo. But Walt Disney he was fond for Leonardo, and he had this library full of books on Leonardo. And that incredible Fantasia is full
Fantasia.
Yeah. And is full of reference of Leonardo.
Oh, goodness.
Yes.
I'll have to go back and watch that.
Yeah, sure.
I'll look at it at a whole different perspective now, thinking about that. But I think it was very early film of Disney, and it's very fantastical, and there is a lot of flora and fauna and all of these different things during it. So I will definitely have to go back and look at that.
And I must to tell you that I was studying how Leonardo impact Hollywood movies. And I know that it's strange, but the movie Alien? Yes.
Oh.
So Leonardo, my favorite drawings of Leonardo is Captain Windsor, and it's a knife, but this knife is a sort kind of half man and half elephant.
Oh my goodness!
And it gave.
It's coming from somewhere in his brain,
Yes,
and where's that?
And it inspired the creature inside Alien. I did a conference in Zurich. I think it was so many years ago in 2010, and there was Ridley Scott.
Yes.
So, and he is the movie director of Alien, and he told me, "Oh my God, that's incredible!" But the original artist who proposed the first sketch for the creature, inside Alien, was looking at Leonardo, at that drawing by Leonardo. So. I know that's incredible.
Who knew? And so he's in everything that he's in everything that we do. If you don't even realize it, in terms of all of his the the things that he had his hand in and the things that he inspires people to do. That's the most important thing, is that his inspiration, him as an inspiration.
And I think the presence of Carlo Pedretti in Westwood, near the UCLA, and so near Hollywood, it would be a great impact on the production of movies, of course. So in the same way, I wish that the presence of this museum in Pueblo would have the same impact.
Absolutely. And it's already, I mean, yesterday at the ribbon cutting and the entire day was an absolute wonderful spectacle. And I know that it's the culmination of Joe Arrigo's dream that he had and that he envisioned for Pueblo. And I just think the impact of this museum is going to be exponential to Pueblo, and I think it will be a wonderful, wonderful addition. I want to talk more about the other aspect of this museum, the STEAM Center. It allows students to learn here. It allows students to learn in a pathway that is similar to how Leonardo da Vinci learned and discovered. How does this way of learning, in your opinion, speak to challenges of the traditional learning of today, and how students may step outside of traditional learning?
It's important. It's very important. And this is why this museum, except for the fact that it's beautiful, it's different from the other museums around the world, just because it gives the opportunity to young scholars, to children, to discover properly Leonardo. And I am incredibly fascinated by the fact that there is a laboratory, very important for children. And I think one of the best feature is the library.
I've heard so much about this library, and its solitary holdings in the entire world, and how fantastic it will be. Tell me a little bit about that, and how that will become a contribution to the museum and to the community.
The library is a dream place. And inside there are all the facsimile reproductions of the collection of drawings and the manuscripts by Leonardo, published by Giunti. This is our official publication, and the importance of the facsimile is that we can have in one place all the collections of Leonardo, of all the autograph, the original collection of Leonardo, all around the world, that now are dispersed around the world. So in one place you can find the Codex Atlanticus, the collection of Windsor, the manuscripts of the Institut de France in Paris, or any other incredible collection, for example, the ones kept in the Uffizi Gallery in Florence, kept in the Metropolitan Museum, for example.
I've been lucky enough to go to the Uffizi. I went to Italy in high school on a trip for 2 weeks, and it's blows my mind. It blows my mind still.
Yes.
It's amazing.
And another point is that when you go to Uffizi, you are not allowed to see the drawings because they are kept in another place called Gabinetto dei Disegni delle Stampe, where you can go, but if only you are a scholar and under
special
your
access.
request. So having the facsimile, for facsimile, we indicated the exact reproduction of the folio and the manuscript of Leonardo in the same size, dimensions, color, and also the sign of aging. So I think that's a wonderful.
That's actually an art form, is to create a replica in that way, so that it encompasses all of the age and the character of something that exists by Leonardo.
Yes. And for example, if you are lucky enough to hold a reproduction of a manuscript, you can feel in your hand the exact feeling, just like holding an original. And it's a fantastic experience that I recommend.
Well, needless to say, I'm excited for the completion of the library. As a thought leader for this museum, and with your particular studies of the relationship between art and science, what is your view that of the reconstructive mechanisms, and you've talked about this a little bit, created by the artisans of Florence, are able to present relative concepts that for youth, for students that come through here, and we've seen a little bit online that the museum has provided in terms of the immersive qualities that students may take on when working with the mechanisms or working in the STEAM labs. Talk to me a little bit about how the relevancy of those things can be brought to students today.
I think it's important to work on drawings and manuscripts by Leonardo, and then work on models. So you can see how Leonardo would eventually, because we are not sure that all the machines were reproduced by Leonardo himself.
Okay.
I think the wonderful point is that we can study Leonardo on his drawings, and then we can study Leonardo on the models. And it's incredibly important for a young scholar, but also for a scholar. And beyond the model, of course, there are the laws of physics that you can understand, the laws of engineering, architectural construction. So I think all the different fields of knowledge can come here and study Leonardo. For example, there are beautiful drawings about plants and botany.
Wow.
And now there would be a fantastic opportunity to study the drawings and to have the plants, the real plants.
Yes.
And to study the story of these plants, because not every plant were lived in the same period of Leonardo. So I think that all the folios could give to students, to young researchers, several themes of research.
I know that technology and STEAM is of utmost interest to the youth of today in school. And I just feel like this is having the presence of this opportunity here in Pueblo County, in southern Colorado, I think is a fantastic opportunity for students to come and have an immersive experience. I did an article last year which had an incredible response on neuroarts. Do you aware what neuroarts is?
No, tell me more about it.
Neuroarts is the study of how art immersion affects the developing brain, not only in children, but everybody thinks that your brain stops growing at a certain age, and that is absolutely false. The most important thing in neuroarts is that you are constantly in the presence of or taking part in arts or creativity or doing something. And that immersion is so important not only to your development, but to the way in which you observe the world. And I feel like it has a complete parallel with the way in which Leonardo lived his life in terms of how he looked at things. And I just feel like that is an absolute important concept here. So I really am excited to see how the youth of Pueblo interact with things here. I know it's already been happening. So one last question. I know of your love, and it's obviously your passion for Leonardo da Vinci. Who else do you love? Who's your favorite artist? Do you have another favorite? This is just a personal art historian question. Who is your other favorite? Do you have another favorite artist?
Yes. I am working with contemporary artists too. I don't know. Today I would say David Hockney because he just passed away yesterday.
One of my favorites. I mean, he's everywhere in the news right now.
Yes.
He's one of the most prolific English artists of the 20th century. He's responsible for bringing British mid-century modern and pop art to America. But yes, absolutely love him.
Yes. And I love him just because I saw and I really appreciated the paintings that he made in the swimming pools around the Los Angeles area.
Yes.
But most of all because he did kind of new readings of the Codex of Madrid.
Oh,
both of them.
Yes.
And he did a wonderful exhibition in London. It was, I think, 2011 or 2012.
It was 11. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And so his rereading was not that far from Leonardo. And this exhibition was curated by Professor Martin Kemp, who was... Yes.
The great Martin Kemp,
yes.
Who you were in wonderful company with on Friday as well.
Yes, of course. And so seeing a contemporary artist who wanted to reread Leonardo and who produce drawings so similar to Leonardo, I think it's wonderful.
Wow.
And there is this beautiful definition that Leonardo is the end who can write the future. So he was then that who could write the past, the present, and the future. And I think that Leonardo continues to inspire us all today, not as the most important leader. Sorry to Michelangelo and Raphael.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, and I would be surprised if you didn't. Your passion is obvious, so obvious and beautiful. And I just want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule today. I've been sitting here. This has been a program with Dr. Sara Taglialagamba. She has been here for the inaugural weekend of the Leonardo da Vinci Museum and STEAM Center. And I have really enjoyed our time together. I appreciate you so much. Safe travels. And that's a wrap. We'll see you again soon, Pueblo. And thank you so much for listening.
Grazie.
You've been listening to State of Art, a production of the Voices of Pueblo podcast, presented by the Pueblo Star-Journal. This episode, Leonardo da Vinci Museum opens Pueblo to the world with Dr. Sara Taglialagamba, was produced and narrated by Bree Pappan. The Pueblo Star-Journal thanks Colorado Housing and Finance Authority for their support of this podcast. To learn more and to support nonprofit local news in Pueblo, Colorado, visit pueblostarjournal.org. Thank you for listening.
Homeownership is possible with a trusted partner.
It brings us a lot of joy to be able to say that this house is our own and that we've poured our hearts into making it our own.
Alyssa and Ryan are among the more than 155,000 people Chaffa has helped become homeowners since 1974. It starts with homebuyer education and connecting you with a statewide network of participating lenders. Get started at chfainfo.com/yourhome. Chaffa is an equal housing lender.